when you settle down, come back and talk to me. This is not a suicide call, this would be an anger type of call. And we get them. We get all kinds of calls. And we get sexual fantasy calls. They're a hoot.
And obscenity calls.
SFs.
And obscenity calls.
Pardon?
Obscenity calls.
We get obscenity calls, the first episode. Well, sometimes, you know, if someone is angry and they use obscenities, we'll let it go and let's get to the issue. But if it's just ranting, sometimes we'll get these real, literally on another planet people talking about aliens and things like that. And we'll give them a little time. It depends, you know, how busy things are. If things are quiet, all right, we'll give them a few minutes to talk, but if we've got the NSPL line lighting up, I'm sorry, call some other time, we can't put up with that. Was there a hand right here, Paul?
When you, like for the NSPL line, are you attached to a national database so you can refer them to somebody local to where they are, even though they have a KNZ number in Bend, California?
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, when we get an NSPL call, can we refer to resources, even if it's a Kansas number, wherever it is? We have to find out where the people are before we can, so sometimes we have caller ID, but a lot of calls are blocked or withdrawn. So if we get a call from someone and they say, well, I'm ready to go to the mental health center, well, we have to know where you are. And then if we find out where they are, Cowley County, we'll go through our database on our computer and try to find the emergency number and provide the resource. The national does keep a database of the calls. We get a printout every month of the calls with the time, the date, and then the last four numbers are X'd out, they're X's. So we don't know the exact number, because we've got them in our database, but the national sends us a monthly report of the calls and where they come from. Does that answer your question?
What like, can you find a mental health center in New York City?
In New York City?
Or wherever,
yeah.
Wherever.
If we find that they're in another state, another city, we'll do our best to connect them. If not with the actual resource, with the call center that's nearest them. A lot of times we'll say, you know, you're calling from Denver, you're probably better off talking to people at this number in Denver. Yes? Did you have your hand up? Okay, go ahead.
So if one's interested in volunteering, you just need to wait for the next announcement of the informational meeting?
Yeah.
Is that on a website or?
It's on our website, which is our Facebook page and our website. Our website is headquarterscounselingcenter.org. That's all one word, Headquarters Counseling Center. We will be having we previously had a spring and fall class, but we will be having a summer class. Tentatively set for June, and we have flyers set up all over the community announcing the information meetings, and then yeah, we'll be having a training class in the fall and a training class in probably June. Yep.
I want to talk about Al Nelson. He was a regular around Lawrence. Last summer he began having mental problems. I don't know if this is true because you may say it's not, but his friends, Marcy Francisco, K.T. Walsh where he lived, Joe, Marcy's husband, they were all trying to help him basically because he didn't have enough money. They tried to help him get a job. At one point, he apparently, of what I heard, they had come down to headquarters. Well, actually, he was outside, and somebody came into headquarters and said, my friend needs some help. And they said, we have to take a phone call. You can't come in. Is that true? That doesn't sound true.
We won't go outside if you brought the friend
So
in.
he needed to come in.
That's right.
Okay, well, he was outside. They said, look, he's over there. Oh, you can see him. Anyway, he went to Bert Nash. They gave him like an appointment several weeks later. He got in his truck, drove up to Nebraska, and he was on the Nebraska-Iowa border. He was laying under a tree. When the train approached, he jumped up and killed himself in front of the train.
Mm-hmm.
So Bert Nash apparently didn't help people who, in fact, Marcy said that her mother went and got in right away because she had insurance. But Al didn't have insurance. So Bert Nash basically put him off, and then he killed himself.
Well, we have a problem with mental health services nationwide. We need a lot more. In fact, go to Joe Douglas's presentation. I think it's on March 20th at Watkins.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday. I'm going to be there. He's going to be speaking at noon, I think, at the Watkins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it true that a volunteer might be working alone in the building?
Yes. In fact, if that volunteer was working alone, they're prohibited from leaving the hall room unless a walk-in comes in. And we're so stretched thin right now, we prefer having 2 people on, especially from our 4 to 8 and 8 to midnight shifts, because that's very busy. But if there's one person, they usually lock the door because we have to be concerned with the safety of the counselors as well. But they are prohibited from leaving the building.
In the past, there were outreach teams, a man and a woman, both,
Uh-huh.
would go out if there was a need to go out.
Yeah, we're looking into that. Right now, we're really shorthanded. We can barely cover the shifts that we've got coming now. In fact, I'm putting in for, I've emailed, I'm ready to take extra shifts next week because it's spring break and we're going to be short. If we get enough counselors, then we definitely would like to do some outreach. We've talked about having a warm line, which is different from a hotline, where you initiate a call to, say, the people with regular problems. We do follow-up calls, but say we've got someone who needs a call every day at 10 o'clock to check on them, to make sure they got up and took their meds and so forth. We'd like to initiate that. We're also looking into online chat and using text messages and trying to modernize it. I was at a meeting with the, there's a Lawrence group of medical managers. Medical managers. They gave us a check in January, and it was very nice. It was a donation for our for the headquarters. And this woman came up to me after my remarks and said, you know, I've got this nephew in college, and he won't talk to me. He's been talking about taking his life. He'll only text me. And I said, text him back, because that's the way they communicate. And so we're trying to address the demographics. Younger people are less likely to have face-to-face and even a telephone conversation. If the only way you can engage them is through texting, text, and keep them talking. One of the things we tell our counselors is keep talking, keep them on the line, keep them going as much as you can. That's the most important way to connect. Yes?
What happens if you get a call from someone who is obviously in a crisis situation, and through talking, a trained volunteer can probably pick up on something that they can't respond to? What do you do then? Who do you call?
We have protocols for dealing with 911 calls. Our goal is to keep people safe for now, and that's the slogan we use. Be safe for now. Not forever, but for now. If the person has already taken the pills, we are trained in poison control. We have the PDR. We call poison control. Well, this person took 6 Seconal. Is that bad? Yes or no? And then we have to try to find out where they are. We can't call 911 if we don't know where they are. And a lot of times people have cell phones. They're out in the woods. Gathering that information takes a great deal of skill. You've got people who are calling because it's an anonymous call and it's confidential, and they're in a life-threatening situation, and it takes a tremendous amount of skill. As I said, we train our people as well as we can to get that information and to find out where they are and to keep them safe, and sometimes we don't, and we lose them. And then we get together and we say, you did the best you could, it couldn't be helped. It's hard when we lose someone, but you do the best you can. But there are some situations where we just can't get to them.
The Journal World mentioned a suicide and said we don't normally print about suicides unless it's a well-known person, or I think unless it was announced somehow. Otherwise, they don't print stories about people.
That's their policy. You can often read between the lines.
Yeah.
You can often read between the lines when someone dies by suicide. Here's one of the things. There's still a huge cultural bias against talking about suicide. I mean, my family and other friends, you talk to people about killing. How can you do that? My wife is a teacher, and she's a very empathetic person. She said, I couldn't do what you do. Are you kidding? It takes a special kind of person to become one of our counselors. There's a cultural bias against talking about it. And one of the things we train our folks is, you've got to say, are you thinking of taking your life? And then we totally counterintuitive. We want them to talk about their reasons for dying. It's very important for you, me as a counselor, to listen to your reasons for dying before I start talking about your reasons for living. If you go right to saying, oh, you can't do that, you've lost the connection. What we do is we have a 3-phase interaction. We first connect, then we understand, and then we assist. You can't go from connect to assist. You've got to take the time to let them talk about why they want to kill themselves, all the bad things. My dog ran away, my wife ran off with my friend, my truck broke down. It's like a country and western song. You listen to their, and then say, okay, but you called me, so you must have a reason for living. You must be ambivalent. And then our counselors are trained to say, well, let's talk about your reasons for living. And the goal is to move them over from the death side to the life side. And you know what? It works. Intervention works. It's research-based. If we can get to people and talk to them, we can get them to be safe for now. Not forever, for now. And one of the things that we do is we try to do callbacks. We initiate callbacks. Well, I'm glad you're safe now. Can we call you tomorrow morning? What time works best? What's the name? What name do you want to use? We don't ask their name. If you want to use Joe or Tom or whatever, that's fine. All right, I won't be here, but there's another counsel. We'll call you at 9 o'clock in the morning to check on you. We care about you. Sometimes they can make a huge difference. A lot of times it makes a huge difference. I guess this means it's the end.
Oh, I was gonna say, it doesn't, of the official program, right? So in other words, you can stick around
Sure.
and the conversation can continue. I'm just indicating that it is one, and for anybody who wanted to pick up literature, we have some up here. But yeah, you guys can continue talking.
Okay.
I just want to let folks know they can, if they need
Steve,
that
I
out.
want to thank you. I want to thank you for doing the best you can, and it happens that the best you can do is marvelous.
Thank you very
And
much.
thank you for being a key organizer.
Thank